Hey guys, welcome. We're here live from our Office of Emergency Management. We're going to continue our conversation that we started last Friday before tax-free weekend, and we're going to go over emergency preparedness kits and kind of how to make a kit, what you should include. We'd love to hear about some of your questions that you might have about what to include in that kit. And here I have Grelia with me, and
Hey,
we're going to look at her kit. So Grelia, why don't you tell me a little bit about who you're preparing for, and we'll jump in and look at all these cool items.
Awesome. First, I wish that I would have waited, and that's one of our tips, is to be patient. I would have waited for this past weekend and saved a lot of money on some of those tax items. My family and I put together this, believe it or not, a lot of this fits into this one bag, and this is our go bag. In my family, I have my son and my husband, and each of us has special needs. So the items that we included, focusing on one of our tips for today is to keep it simple and really focus on what your individual needs for your everyday life is, such as medication for my husband, and I brought the extra supply that we have, and I brought it in today. And so the way that we've been building, so far we have 8 of his medications that he takes daily, and so every time he renews his prescription, we save 1 or 2, and we start rotating that medication as well, because medication does expire, and we want to make sure that we have at least a supply of 7 to 8 days. He's also talked to his healthcare provider, and because of our insurance, he is only allowed to have an additional quantity 1 time a year. So building all of that into the way that we plan for him to have an extra supply.
Also, a good tip is you might be able to ask the doctor, and when you guys go to the doctor, you might be able to ask if they have any samples of that medication. And those often come in like an individual little pack, so that's something you might be able to say, oh, do you just have a week of samples that I can have on hand just in case, and put those in your bag. That way it's individually packaged for a day.
I didn't even think of that. So yeah, next time he goes, I'll make sure he asks that question. Yeah, even if it's the generic brand. One of the things that we did have a conversation with our health provider was, in case he runs out of this medication and we can't get to a pharmacy, what can he do? So he also gave him some dietary suggestions to alter until we get him the medication. The other thing that we have thought about for us was we have a son, he's a toddler, and so as you can see, a lot of these items, I have broken them down in different bags. So if you don't mind, I'll share.
Oh, absolutely.
I have. And so
is this bag just for your son?
Yes.
Or?
Yes. And as I mentioned, I have a go kit, and this all fits in here. And at home we have a shelter in place kit. And so at home he has 3 additional bags, just like this, where we have a puzzle, which also has letters. And so this will keep him entertained, and he has not seen this game, so it'll be new and exciting for him if we need to use it.
Tip, if kids haven't seen toys that you're putting in the emergency preparedness kit, whether it's at home or on the go, pick something that looks really fun, so that really sparks their interest. And even those little flashcards that they have in the dollar section at Target, which we'll talk a little bit about couponing later and how to save a lot of money on this kind of stuff. But you can go to the dollar section in Target and pick out a lot of those cool items, especially right now with all the back to school items. There's a lot of fun kid stuff that you can pick up and kind of put away in the closet for, this type of emergency.
Yeah, and this is very inexpensive. I will throw out the name of where we got this from, but Like you mentioned, some of the stores do offer those dollar sections. Then the other is we also bought a bulk of these placemats that also have the alphabet, and so this is another game of ours. He does use this on a regular basis, so we wanted to include something that he's familiar with. So in case we need to go somewhere else outside of our home, he's not shocked. And then I have some food items. As we all know, the ones that have babies, they always need washcloths. So I have 2 of these in each of the bags, and his shoes, his clothes, and then wipes here. Oh, thank you. My wipes and my diapers. He's transitioning out of diapers right now, but in a pinch, we could just use those. There are a size up, and that's what we recommend, is for people to think one size up to the size that your child is using.
Well, that's a great tip that most people I don't think would really consider in a time of an emergency, is going up a size, especially if you don't have the opportunity to change them for a little while. You definitely want to make sure there's enough room to hold everything that they're not keeping inside.
Right, and as I said, we put this together about a month and a half ago, and so he wasn't at this size yet. So when we update it, we will again recycle these or use these and start adding or updating what we have. Then these are also our everyday use, butt cream and baby oil, and then everyday use for my husband and I, socks and shirts and things like that. The other thing that, so we mentioned keeping it simple and thinking about your immediate needs. And also focusing on there are different tutorials that you can look at online to give you an idea of where to start. But my main thing is making sure that we include items that we cannot live without, such as my husband's pair of glasses. We bought an extra one just in case, and we also have eye contact solution and a pair of his eye contacts as well included.
Okay. So what about if we need to leave the house in a pinch? Are there any things that we should take for especially children that you might not have in this kit that we need to grab as we're going out the door? Maybe like a car seat or a stroller, depending on the emergency. Is there anything that you would suggest that we should have ready to go out the door?
So I think that you mentioned this as well last month when we did our segment, and you presented on the baby items that you have for your infant, and one of them was a car seat. The other for us, because he is a toddler and he's walking, if we had to evacuate, we don't want to carry our baby. I love him to death, I do, but he's heavy, and if we're relocating, I want him to be comfortable, I want us to be comfortable as well. So we do have a stroller with a portion where we can store our bag and be on the go. So I would suggest,
I guess, for younger kids, if you do have a smaller infant or a child that doesn't weigh too much, you might also be able to use the carriers, the front carriers. Mm-hmm. Or the backpack carrier. That might also be a good way if there's maybe debris on the ground and you can't bring a stroller, depending on how heavy your carrier goes up to, you might be able to just keep one of those by the door just in case.
That's very true. Again, anything that works for you and what you're comfortable with, and also what you're able to afford. This particular stroller we only have in case we need to leave with him. I've been trying to convince my husband to get the one that you can fold into a little box. I haven't been able to be successful, but that's my next goal.
I I think I'll get one of those too. That sounds like a great idea.
And then the other piece of advice or tip is patience does pay off. If I would have waited until this past weekend, I would have, again, saved a lot of money in items that I purchased for my go bag, and not having to pay taxes would have saved me a lot of money. And when things go on sale, again, some of the things that I have here, nutritious bars and things that do expire, I will be rotating, but keeping my eye on other items that are on sale and I can replenish with.
Also, water. So we know that water in plastic containers doesn't stay good forever. So in water bottles, you actually need to replenish them about every 3 months and kind of cycle them out, because the plastic does begin to disintegrate. So one of the suggestions to kind of get your money to go a little bit further is you can purchase bagged water or even canned water, and those will last a lot longer. It is a little bit more of an investment up front, but bagged water can last 5 years, and canned water can last anywhere between 10 to 30 years depending on the distributor. So if you spend, $25 on a case, and you can find them online, sometimes they have specials in the store, that investment is actually making your money go a lot further than buying a case of water for $3 every 3 months. So by the time a year goes by, you're almost at the amount of money that you would have spent on bagged water just in a few months.
That's true. And I would suggest, if you're getting the bagged water, to taste it and get your kids, if you have kids, to be comfortable with that taste, because it does taste a little bit different. The other thing that we have opted with was getting the purification tablets. So in case we need to purify our water, we do have those tablets. They're very inexpensive, and again, looking at the different sales and coupons, and I know Courtney wants to give you a lot of suggestions on coupons.
Oh yeah, so coupons are great. I mean, some of this stuff, depending on what you can get at the grocery store, I know sometimes they, have 10 for 10 sales. You can, stock up a lot on different items. Different stores have different coupons. You can, some will even double your manufacturer coupons and do store coupons as well. So make sure, I know personally I love coupons, so I probably wouldn't buy much stuff without them. So you can get a lot of this stuff probably at half price or even more discounted, especially the diapers, since you are having to replenish them. For me, my son is, he's going to be 4 months old, so he is going through a lot of diapers. He's also going up in sizes very frequently. So just getting small packs of diapers, even the store brand, it helps a lot. A lot of the ointment and stuff, hand sanitizer and tissues, you can get the store brand of things, and it will be a lot cheaper than getting a lot of those name brand stuff.
We have a question from a viewer. It says, how much water should we have in our kids?
Well, depends on the size of your family. So it should be 1 gallon per day. Per person. And that could be very expensive and very tricky. So we also suggest to store water in different containers as well before, if we know a hurricane is coming or there is a threat of a winter storm, stack up on some of those items. I remember I was in this area for Isabel, and I remember my mom sanitized the tub and store water for our use, and it wasn't drinkable water, it was for other uses, but we were always ahead of the game in terms of the planning. The water is probably one of the most essential things that you should have in your kit. So as Courtney was saying, whether it's bagged water or canned water, you want to make sure that it doesn't take a lot of space in your house. Some people live in an apartment. We have ours in the basement, but rationing that water as well for the members of your family.
Absolutely. And also, some people might think about not having power or, wanting to store water, but maybe they don't have a bathtub to store it in. And they're, thinking, how am I going to, clean myself, clean my child? What if your child has an accident and you have no water? One of the good things that you can also purchase are some, they're like bathing wipes that you can, buy in the store and online. It's a good way for you just to be able to, clean yourself up really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just, they're disposable. They come in a pack of 8, so maybe just grabbing a couple of those for you and your family as well. So when you change your clothes and everything, or if your child has an accident, you can just help everyone clean up really quick without needing access to the shower or anything.
Yeah, that's very true. Then the next suggestion is not to skip on the good stuff. So we all have dietary needs, and we need to also concentrate on ourselves and being okay in terms of our spirits during a disaster. So if you are if for some reason you have a low sugar or a low sodium diet, look for those items on sale and build up your kit with some of those items that you need. Another suggestion is a lot of people are using Pinterest, and they have different tutorials that you could follow. Find a credible tutorial to start canning food. There's a lot of regulations that you can look up on ready.gov in terms of canning and storing food. There is a number of things that you should be considering regarding contamination and the way that you store your food so it doesn't spoil. So
absolutely, yeah. And there is a guide on our website in terms of that guide about how long food is good for, especially in the fridge. I think it's like 4 hours if your fridge is unopened. If your freezer is half full, it's good for 24 hours. If it's full, it's good for 48 hours. So especially new moms, you definitely want to make sure, a lot of moms, make sure that they store up a lot of breast milk before they go back to work. So just making sure that you, if a storm is coming, make sure you get extra ice cubes and really fill your freezer. That way, hopefully, everything will stay good in your freezer for that 48 hours, and just try not to open it.
And then the other piece with milk, if your child is consuming regular milk now, you could also think about getting the dry milk. Those boxes are pretty inexpensive. They do go on sale. So I do have in my shelter-in-place kit, I do have a box, 2 boxes, of dry milk that you just add water to. And it will help you.
They also have boxes of pre-made milk now too, as well as the formula. We talked about this last month. We talked about the formula where you can use the pre-made 8-ounce ones. They can be served at room temperature. And also, again, coupons. Manufacturers send out coupons, so you can get one of those coupons for $5 off, and it'll be just a couple of dollars for you to have that in your kit.
We have a question from Tracy. She's asking, how can I store my water in old milk gallon jugs?
We highly suggest for you to visit ready.gov. There are very specific limitations to storing water in milk containers because the bacteria will live on and it will reproduce in water. So we're not health experts, but we can suggest for you to go to ready.gov and get that information. You can also store water in other containers, such as a water container or different items that you could buy at the store that has a cap in where you could store. Keep it at room temperature because as Courtney mentioned, the plastic does disintegrate, and with high temperatures, so you want to keep it at room temperature.
Yeah. What else can we
Okay, so the next thing, we just covered water, and the other is the off-brand and items that will save you money. I have to be honest, when we put this kit together, I told my husband, we're talking about this in the office, we have to do it. We haven't updated our kits in over 2 years. We have a child, so I sort of went into a shopping mode and got all of it at once, which is not ideal.
Not on tax-free weekend.
No, not on tax-free weekend. So I would suggest for you to go to your local dollar store and see what items you can get from there to minimize some of the costs. I know for sure they have these washcloths there and other items that you see displayed on the table. It does not have to cost a lot of money to put these kits together. The whole idea with do-it-yourself kits is for you to save money and for you to customize it to your need.
Also, don't feel like you have to do this all in one day either. So we know that, some of us kind of panic and say, oh my God, we don't have one and we have to go get everything. Well, sometimes that's not ideal to do. So you can add to things, over time. Maybe start out with the basic essentials that you have in your house. Take some of the food that you have, take some of the clothes. If you have extra diapers and wipes, just put them in a bag on the side, and as you have funding to do that, add little things, month by month. Even the free giveaways at some of the events that we do, those can be a great way to, start your own kit. If you're out in an event and someone has a reusable water bottle, fill your water and put that aside. That's something that you don't have to pay for at all. Also, sometimes like the Red Cross and other people give out these first aid kits. This is a Red Cross kit. Sometimes you might be able to get these for free at community events. So be on the lookout and put those things aside for your kit.
That's very true. Now, one of the things regarding water, we also bought this dry sack. It has 3 different sizes and we could store water using these. I know that for sure. My husband bought this online when it was on sale, so that could be another alternative. The other piece is our agency last year put together bags for each of our employees. Now, we tell people all the time to be prepared and to be ready, and so our director was really keen on getting us prepared as well. And so I brought that with me. Courtney has one as well, all our members of our team. So we encourage our team members to look through our bags and update them. One of the things that I have is a extra pair of clothes. So should we need to shelter in place and stay here for a long time, I want to make sure that I have other changes of clothes. And other personal needs that I have in there as well, and we keep it underneath our desk. We have items like MREs, light sticks, and
Grelia's talking about this because sometimes during an emergency, we are the personnel that aren't able to go home. So we need to have kits here in case we have to sit in our emergency operations center. We might not be able to go home for a whole day, depending on what's going on. So having our kit here is super essential for us because, we need the extra change of clothes. We have facilities here that we can use, but in case, we don't get to go home and get our go kit, it's definitely super important to have our stuff here.
And so if members of the business community are tuning into this segment, make sure that you encourage that with your teams, not necessarily buying for your team members, but make it a challenge, make it a game, so that you can encourage people to start putting their go kits together and have it at work. That is all for us at this time. We hope that those 6 tips that we share were helpful and will get you over the hump of the overwhelming feeling as we all have felt. So I think since I'll let Courtney close since you're our host.
Yeah. So don't forget, we're going to do Facebook Live every month. So we will advertise again when we're going to hold our next segment, and hopefully you guys aren't feeling too overwhelmed, but please let us know if you have any additional questions. We'd be happy to give you suggestions based on your family's need. We're also going to be out in the community a lot in September, so if you see us out in the community, come and say hi, let us know how your kids are going, and we'll be here in any way that we can. And don't forget to sign up for Fairfax Alerts if you're not already signed up.
Now the other piece, I just want to, with your closing comments, National Preparedness Month is September. As Courtney said, we'll be out in the community, so make sure that you use that month as well to encourage yourself and your families to get your kids together and to start preparing.